Hey everybody, welcome back to BigRedEDC and welcome to this edition of Channel Chat. And joining me today is RJ from RJ's Knives. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic, JB. I'm glad to be here, and this is an awesome opportunity. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I am very, very thankful that you took the time out of your day. I know it's a Saturday and there's probably other things you could be doing, but I'm glad you decided to take a little bit of time and sit down with me and talk to me. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. For all of you that don't know, RJ's Knives is a fairly new channel. When would you say you actually started the
I
channel?
I was actually trying to think back. It really has been a very short time. Only I think maybe January was when I
Yeah,
started, or
okay.
late December.
I think
Yeah,
I
I think
might
it's
have
January. Yeah,
I think I might have run across your channel. Don't I would say maybe, oh gosh, February-ish, maybe,
yeah,
and but it's really cool that we're seeing a lot of the guys from the knife community just doing what they like and talking about knives, and that's all I do. I am by no means a knife expert or anything like that. I've probably proven that on more than one occasion, and you know what, that's okay, because you know what, I love knives, I love talking about knives, and doing things like this is how I educate myself.
oh yeah, me
I
too.
mean, we
I
can look
learned.
stuff up online and we can, but I don't know if you have maybe seen this in your comments and stuff, but you will talk about a knife and somebody will say, oh man, but mine did this and this. And so you kind of get that, okay, so this one had issues, mine didn't. So that's something we need to look out for. And
Yes,
it's a good way to learn, and or you just get the opposite. You get 20 comments where mine was perfect, so okay, this one's pretty much legit, it's on the you know and it's a good way to educate ourselves. So, and plus
it's true.
it's fun.
It
I
is
like
fun.
talking to people.
Yeah,
Speaking of
exactly.
talking to people, you and I are recording this as Blade Show 2021 is going on. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen any of the coverage from that so far, but I watched a little bit so far.
yeah.
It looks like people are having fun, and looks like there's some really, really awesome knives, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit, because I think there's one out there that you might enjoy and maybe have had your eye on. We'll see, but
Okay.
we'll start off. We'll start off with what got you into knives to begin with.
Well, that's an interesting question because as long as I've been alive, I've been interested in fascinated by knives, swords, axes, any kind of bladed object. I mean, I can remember being a kid, and the most exciting thing about joining Cub Scouts was getting to have the Cub Scout knife. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, mhm,
And
sure.
I can remember going through history books and the old encyclopedias and stuff, and I'd look at all the medieval weapons and kind of the evolution of swords and how swords were in different cultures, and why is this one different? Say a Viking era sword versus a Japanese samurai sword, and kind of look at how they were made, the construction of them. I'm kind of a history nerd, so for
Cool.
me, I've always said that if you study weapons, you really are studying the history of mankind. Because
Oh, without a doubt.
right. So I mean, it's just and it's kind of funny because I remembered first getting into knives, it being at a grocery store with my mom. I think I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and they used to have the magazine racks right there by the checkout counter,
Sure.
and that
Mhm.
was that was one of the things that I saw in there was a cover of Gun World magazine, and it had "Win This Knife," and it had some
Ooh.
drop point skinner. And so I told my mom, I said, will you buy me this magazine? I want to enter this contest. And she's like, okay, I guess. So she went ahead and got it. And of course, that was to her downfall, because then it just started my passion for firearms. So so I kind of do both, because nothing goes well with a good knife than a good gun. So they just kind of pair naturally.
Well,
Uh,
they do.
yeah. So that was kind of the start of it. Was just kind of that just natural interest in those things. I don't know where I got
Cool.
it from, because there's not really any knife collectors or anything like that in my family. So, I just kind of was blazing the trail on that one.
Okay, right on. Now, um, what inspired you to start the channel?
Okay, well, that was different. When I went to do the channel, my wife had been watching YouTube with me a lot, and she always said when I was watching knife videos, she's like, "You could do that," and I'd be like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go on YouTube." And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, you should do it. You should do it." So she kept kind of putting that seed in my head, and then I was watching. Of course, I'm watching you. I'm watching Patty. I'm watching Tobias. I'm watching uh, everybody, and Jersey Knife Guy, Pete, he did a video on uh, TL29 knife. And I was like, I have one, and I went to I went to a toolbox that I had, and he had made one on a Colonial. I don't know if you guys can see this. It says X-Lite on it.
Yeah, X-Lite
Yeah.
kits.
So this came from an X-Lite toolkit.
We had those in the Navy. We had those on the submarine in the Navy. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I had that kit, and I was like, you know what? And here's the screwdriver blade. And I said, you know what? I have one of these, and I wanted to make a knife video that kind of answered his or spoke to his.
Sure.
Kind of hoping that somebody that I watched would notice something that I did. And that was kind of like how that started. And then I just continued to make videos about different knives that I had. And I kind of ran into, I'd sent out messages to you guys. I think that's how you noticed me, because, I had said, you were one of my inspirations for starting a knife channel. And I'd sent that out to.
Good thing I got the beard. You're going to make me blush.
Well, that's why I have mine.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
But yeah, it's just one of those things that, you kind of want to make stuff that, like, people that you've been watching, you want them to watch your stuff and kind of like, hey, I want you to see what I'm doing. I hope you like it, and that's what I think is kind of cool with this, channel chat, is that I've watched you for, I don't know how many hundreds of videos. But the fact that I get to talk to you one-on-one is like, it's like, wow, I actually get to meet these people and interact with them. And it's cool, not that we're, any big celebrities or anything like that, but we're just regular guys that have a passion for a hobby, for knives and stuff. And it's nice to share that, because, I don't have that in my immediate, people that I'm with. I mean, I would say that the other knife guy is my brother-in-law, Randy, and he's great. In fact, he's given me some knives to review here, so those will be coming in the future. But yeah, it's just kind of really a very cool thing to talk to so many people that have the same interest, and that don't look at you like you're some kind of weirdo because you got a ton of knives in your shop or whatever.
No, and I'm the same way, RJ. I mean, with my job as a crane rigger, in our job, we do use a knife quite frequently, and there are other, I mean, I'm not the only one that works there. There's other guys there, and they use knives as well. But there's a couple of them that I don't know, and we talked about this too, that I would give the term knife guy to. I mean, we already learned that we can't compete with Austin.
Right.
we can't compete with that. At least I can. I know I can't. Yeah. But I mean, they use knives in the course of their job every day, but they don't necessarily collect or anything like that. And so, but they do, like, when I get a knife in for review, that's one of the first things I do, actually, is, well, obviously I take it to work and I see how it'll work in my, in my arena, how it performs. But I also, there's really two of them. I take it to them and I give it to them. And I'm like, tell me what you think. How does it feel? Because when I do my review, I'm not telling you, I mean, you're getting my opinion of the knife, but I'm interjecting things that other people have said. Like, for me, I'll say, a pocket clip, let's say. Right. I was like, this pocket clip doesn't bother me, but I can see where it might be an issue, because one of the other guys would say, I don't know about this clip, man. So, it's not just my opinion. There's little tidbits from other people in my
Right.
reviews. So
Yes.
I'm not, I mean, yeah, I'm going to tell you what I think about the knife, but I've gotten other feedback from other people,
Right.
and I try to interject that into my review a little bit so I can, you're getting one person's opinion, but there's a tad bit more. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
basically that's what I'm getting
Exactly.
at. But
That's
they're not really knife guys, you
right.
know. So
And that's
and
what I do. Yeah.
yeah, and so this, yeah, doing things like this, and like what we talked a little bit about Blade Show. I mean, going to like Blade Show and stuff like that, of course, I want to see what's coming up. I want to see what the new greatest, latest and greatest thing is, what I have to have, but it's really about meeting the people.
Oh,
That is
absolutely.
that is by far the overwhelming aspect for me to do anything. Now, like, I didn't get to go to Blade Show. I'm really, as a matter of fact, just this past week, I bought my ticket to Blade Show West. I
Uh-huh.
got my airline ticket. So, because
Yep.
there's a lot of people going to be there that I want to meet, and it's just going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But so, is it safe to say that Cub Scout knife you were referring to, was that really the first one that you kind of really remember, or?
Yeah, that's kind of the first one that, my mom and dad got me and I had it. And I have no idea where it is today. It's lost to history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear
Like
you.
a
I hear
like a
you.
lot of my early knives, but I do have some knives. Actually, this one hasn't been on my channel yet, but I think you might like this one. This is a Kershaw. I don't know if you can see that
Okay.
on the sheath,
Uh-huh.
and it has the on the back Lake Oswego, Oregon.
Oh,
And
cool.
I bought this knife when I was a teenager, and this, as you can tell, is a real older Kershaw.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, this was my first real hunting knife that I
Oh,
had.
yeah.
It's got the finger groove handles, and I mean, yeah, this one's going to be
Ooh.
on the channel, but yeah, this is made out of 1050 carbon steel. It's just, it's absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can see that on the tang where it says 1050 on it.
Oh, yep, there it is.
Maybe,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah. So this is cool. It says Kershaw, Oregon, USA, and it says by Kai Japan. So I think that they were, doing that stuff. This is way back in the 80s. When I got this. This is probably 1979, 1980 timeframe.
Oh, wow. Right
I
on.
picked that up. Yeah, and I still have this guy. And so that's probably the earliest example of where I was at, because I was wanting to, at that time, at 17 or so, I had this idea that I was going to, be writing for Field and Stream, and I was going to, go on adventures all around the world. And that didn't quite pan out, but but I'm on YouTube.
Let's see. At 16, 17, I know I went through a professional fisherman stage
Yeah,
because I used to watch, the guys on TV, the Bass Pro, doing, I was like, oh, yeah.
right.
Yeah, I could do that. Well, I wound up on a boat, kind of,
Right.
that kind of sunk on purpose. So I'd say I was like, what, 30%? 30% of my dream came true
Yeah.
because I spent a lot of time on a boat.
Me too. I got to tromp around a lot of fields in different countries with a rifle, but it wasn't hunting.
Were you in the Army?
Yes, I was in the Army. I
Really?
joined.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Did
I
you
was
did you
in.
retire?
Oh no, I wish
No?
I did.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was only in for. I did what, like 5 years. I was in from '83 until '88 on active duty. Then I came out and was in the reserves from '88 to '90.
Okay.
And just kind of used that to get started and stuff. But yeah, it was kind of an adventure for sure. But I got to see a lot of different places. I was stationed in Germany for a while. I got to
Oh,
go on exercise to Korea. So I've been to
Germany,
a
that's
couple
the
of
one
places.
place I want to go and I haven't been yet.
Yeah, I got to live there for 3 years. And it was everything it was cracked up to be. It was a great time over there.
I've been a few places in Europe. We went to Scotland, England, a couple different places in Norway, Holland, but Germany is the one place that I've always wanted to go but haven't made it in Europe. So hopefully one day we'll see. I never did a whole lot of time in the Pacific. Never did. I made it to Saipan.
Oh, there you go.
So it was hot. Oh, it was hot. Oh, I thought the heat and humidity in Nebraska in the summertime was bad. Oh, it's got nothing on Saipan. Wow. Holy. But the one thing about it, because I mean, I think they said it was a 9 by 13 island, maybe. The ocean, the water at the beach. Oh, that was heaven. I bet the water was like, I don't know. But you just go sit there and just, it was so relaxing. But you needed to, because it was hot and humid there.
Yeah.
But, well, I will say thank you very much, sir, for your service in the Army. That's I have a
thank you for yours too.
I mean, I'm a vet myself, so I have a special place in my heart for all those that have served. So yes, thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure to do that.
So you got out of the Army.
Mm-hmm.
What made RJ today?
Oh gosh, just a lot of luck and bad choices, I guess.
I hear you there.
Yeah. But no, I was actually pretty lucky because my dad was a big influence in my life, and he worked as a service technician, and he was able to bring me into that kind of thing. And so
cool.
that's
Very
so
good.
basically I followed in his footsteps, after trying a couple of different careers that didn't really pan out and things that didn't really suit me. And then I found this, and it would just fit like a glove, and that is something that I'm very happy about. In fact, that's one of the things I brought my little tool pouch here, because this ended up on Instagram kind of as a joke, because I said, everybody's like, this is my EDC, and they're showing like, all these kind of, knucks and knives and pens and watches and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, that's not an EDC. This is an EDC.
No, and that was definitely
carrying this thing around everywhere.
Oh, I hear you. No, and that is definitely one of the things that I was going to talk about. Is I like how you on your Instagram and stuff like that. I mean, I get the feeling that well, with a lot of us, that a knife is a tool, and it is. People, it's a tool. That's what it is. And it gets, I know this probably not go over well, but we talk about self-defense and all this other stuff, and unless you've had the training,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But hey, it is a last resort. So, if you're whatever, but it's a tool, and
right.
You post on Instagram, you post like a knife, and then you'll post a pair of pliers or a knife and a screwdriver or something like that. And you really interject the tool aspect into your Instagram photos. And I find that very interesting. And I like it. I like how you do that, because for me, you're expanding or expounding on the idea that the knife is a tool. I mean, my knife is my tool. That's the most used tool I use every single day.
Exactly. And that's, to me, that's what they are, because I mean, I'm not a knife defense expert or any of that kind of stuff, and I don't propose or advocate for anybody to do that unless they just absolutely want to be a martial artist and stuff. Then go for it. But for the regular 99% of people that are carrying a knife, I mean, like this one here, this is an SD Classic that my dad gave me when I went to Germany.
Love it.
So I've had this for quite a long time. But the most used tool on there.
Oh yeah.
And
Without a
that's
doubt.
exactly. And so, I mean, this is the kind of thing that normalizes the knife carry for somebody, because
Mhm.
this is small, it's not intimidating, and the scissors are absolutely useful. In fact, the only one that is even better is Leatherman's take on it
Yeah.
with their the PS
Yeah.
style. I mean, because that's a pair of scissors too.
Yeah.
About the only difference is that these you actually have to lubricate the scissors every once in a while, whereas with the Swiss Army you never have to do that. But
No, those
those are
the
yeah,
Swiss
those are
Army
the kind
scissors are amazing. Those are
yeah,
just incredible tool.
yeah. And even when you look at the knife blade on here, I mean, perfect. And it's just a little slip joint, but
Yeah.
there's nothing that you really don't need a giant blade to take care of 90% of what you're doing, anyways.
Right.
Yeah. So
And I think a little bit of what the aspect, the whole tool aspect that I was talking about is I mean, now social media is just, I mean, it's blown up. Well, look what we're doing, I
right,
mean, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and, the big one now is TikTok. Everybody's on TikTok. Well,
right.
I don't know if you are, I am, and I was posting on there for a little while, but a lot of my videos would get flagged for community violations and dangerous acts. And I'm like, it's literally me doing this.
Yeah.
This is what it is. This is a dangerous act. And I'm
Right.
like,
Dangerous to who?
exactly. And I'm like, what? And that's because they're seeing the other aspect of
Yeah.
this object. They're not seeing the true aspect of this object. And
Right.
it was kind of funny. I just posted one because I'll post a couple, and usually one, if not both, will get flagged for community violations. It's like, whatever. So then I won't post for a while. And then
Right.
I'll post one and it'll like slide through.
Right.
Okay. So then I'll post another one. It gets flagged for, and it's like, what? So, but there's a lot of people on there that do them, and they do terrific, as far as
Right.
like, their viewership or whatever you want to talk about. But I actually had one. I just posted one of a Benchmade 940, the BK 2002. It's the blue with the black blade.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I'm setting up for SKL this afternoon, so that one
Yeah.
I did, and that is what I did. I did
Right.
and I actually got an appeal approved. But they put the disclaimer down on the bottom. This could
Yeah.
result in danger. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
whatever, it's, but I like what you do with that, because you are really expanding on the tool aspect. And I know I don't say that a lot in my videos, but I mean, people that have watched me, we talked about that.
Right.
We have our diehards, which is
Right.
awesome. Love
Yes.
it, and they understand
Yes.
what it is, and it's just I don't. And I mean, I know you like autos, switchblades. I mean, those definitely got a bad
Yeah.
rap. So bad that they're illegal in some. They're illegal to
Right.
carry here. I can own
Yeah.
them, but I can't carry them.
Right. Which
Well,
again is one of those weird things that they do with knife laws. It's like, it's okay if you have this, but you just can't take it out of your house. It's like, what does that mean?
I know. It's like,
how is that helping anybody?
I was like, okay, whatever.
But I have to interject.
Yeah.
This pair of pliers is actually an Instagram star in itself. These Nipex pliers.
Well, I've seen them a few
everybody,
times.
yeah,
I've seen them a few
loves
times.
those. I get a bunch of comments on that, and Jason from NebuCloud asked that these be on here. So this is for you, Jason.
That's awesome. Speaking of Jason, he's just a fantastic
Absolutely.
guy.
I was chatting with him the other day, and I told him that he exemplifies for me the hashtag DSKFS.
Sure.
Because he is living that that lifestyle.
You bet.
And he is just such an awesome guy. I really can't thank him enough, because really, without him, I don't think I'd be where I am today. You know, he's
There you
helped me
go.
out tremendously, and
There you go.
you know, I can name really Jason, knife detector. He was
Yeah.
one of the guys that I reached out to early. He gave me a shout out on his channel and stuff. Fantastic guy. You know, I've gotten to know him, and just everybody that's in the BPEX group that is kind of, we're all helping everybody to lift up. That we're really I'm really blessed to be with these people.
I
They
will.
see something in me to be there. Sorry if I
No.
went off camera. I just had to put those down.
Oh, no worries. No worries. So I can neither confirm nor deny, but there may be some BPEX channel chat in the works.
I think that is something that I've heard rumors, but yeah.
I basically Jason and I were talking, and he was like, what would you think about doing a channel chat with the BPEX? And I was like, I'd love it. Sure, let's do it. I don't, the whole thing with when you're getting a lot of people, we've done a few, I mean, I've done 2 or 3 of the community, 4 or 5 people, is obviously scheduling, because not everybody. And I think maybe what we'll do is we'll just kind of, maybe Saturday morning seems to be an okay, because I'm the oddball. Everybody works days and I work swing shift. Yeah. So that's kind of why you and I are doing this on a Saturday morning, but I think we'll just have to set a time, and I'll just send out the invite to everybody, and who can make it, and it's probably going to have to be one of those deals. But I would definitely love to do that, because I mean you got Jason, you got yourself, you got the Shredder, Grateful Panic is in there.
Yeah,
Sean, yeah,
EDC Den,
yeah. So I would love to do that.
Yeah.
And Sean's another one that I want to do a one-on-one with here eventually, because it was funny. Yeah. Jason contacted me, and he's like, have you thought about doing one with RJ? And I was like, yep. he's on my list. He is definitely on my list. It's just, there again, it's scheduling them and getting a time locked down to where we can do these, because like I said, I'm the oddball. And anyway,
yeah, we gotta go around your work schedule. I understand that, because I do the same thing, because I'm on call at least every other weekend.
Oh, really?
So I know what it's like to have odd things happen, and you just you can't be there, you can't do this or that. It happens.
Yeah. So okay, so where would you say, right now in your collecting world, what are you collecting right now? Where do your main interests lie? Or are you just a little bit of here and there?
I was more a little bit of here and there, I would say, a year ago. And then lately, I've really gone into a real traditional bent. I had this knife that I found that is just this little, it was I bought this, came with a pack of Remington 22 long rifle.
Oh, yeah.
This one of these little knives, it was like, buy 200 rounds and you get this knife, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So I picked this up, and when I found this knife, I was cleaning out some stuff, and of course it's, 2020 when I'm seeing this, and everybody knows I don't have to go over 2020, how bad it was. But when I got this knife, it just rekindled something inside me, and it kind of made me connect with the past. It made me think about, the good times that were before that may not come back around. I don't know, but we're hoping. But yeah, this knife really kind of made me start going traditional. And that was when I discovered through YouTube about Rough Rider knives.
Sure.
And Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
You bet.
And so I was like, trying to decide what patterns I wanted to get or whatever. And these were the first two that I ended up getting, which was a copperhead on top and a canoe. And I really liked the idea of the tangs being hidden and it being basically a smooth pocket carry.
Sure.
So out of the two, I'm trying out these knives, and this one, Old Red, turned out just to be fantastic. In fact, I gave it a name. So, but and he's been on Instagram a lot too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this guy, I'm always happy. It brings a smile to my face every time I pick this knife up, and that's really what it's about. And since I liked copperheads when Case came out with their copperheads, then I got some of them also. You know, so here's one of the Case pattern ones, which Stuart Harvey told me that these knives, I guess, were so popular in the Vietnam War, being sold in the PX and stuff over there, that these were kind of nicknamed the Vietnam knife, which I didn't know. But yeah, really kind of a cool thing, you know, since we're, you know, all military guys and stuff, you know, so that was kind of fun. And then I expanded out. I got a gift. In fact, I have several gift knives here that I guess I can just, you know, blow through these real quick. My son knew that I liked shooting and knives, and so he got me this one. I kept it in the package, you know, so it would stay nice and not get. I don't know if you see on the blade, it's got the rest of the barrel.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
printed on the blade.
Yeah, sure enough.
It's just kind of a fun little thing. Yeah. So I got that, you know, and then like I said, my brother-in-law got me this straight lace from Gerber.
Yeah.
And I've made a video on this one. I've carried this knife at work, and it's a great work knife. I
really like the blade on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very, very handy. Kind of Warncliffe, but with a little belly towards the front. You know, I mean, it's not completely dead straight, but you know, it's turned out to be really a fun knife.
The Warncliffe sheep's foot type blades really do probably the best for me, because I'm usually cutting like rope and twine and stuff. And I mean, any really good knife will work, don't get me wrong, but it just seems like those type of blades just seem to do just a little bit better.
Yeah. And then this little lockback was a gift from my daughter, you know, so this was nice. It's an old timer. It's the Mountain Beaver Junior.
Oh, that's an old timer. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It is. Yeah. So, and this has got the 9CR MOV steel. So it's, you know, actually a pretty good steel. I heard from one of the commenters, you know, learning about stuff, like you said, from our commenters, he said that it's pretty much the equivalent of VG10, which I didn't know that, but I was like, hey, that makes it all the much better. You know, I have no problem with VG10.
Well, I love VG10. Sure. I do.
And then, of course, mentioning Stuart, you know, he got me this Canadian version of the Air Ranger. From, the one without no thumb studs. You know, but this is a really nice knife, and he had it, you know, sharpened and lubricated and stuff when he sent it to me. So, thank you, Stuart, for that for sure. But yeah, just, you know, kind of fun stuff. But a knife that we talked about a lot, the Weston from Kershaw.
Oh,
you know, I love assisted knives. I love flippers. I know that there's some chatter on the internet that, you know, they hate them. They just want ones with thumb studs or whatever. But I'll take a good flipper any day. You know, I have no problem with that. But I love that Weston. But yeah, I kind of, you know, was everywhere. Of course, I can't go anywhere without my Leatherman Wingman. I carry a Wave all the time, but I think I had told in a video that this little package opener that they have on there, I mean, that's my favorite tool for opening a package. That little hook.
Oh yeah.
Now, I was talking to another guy, and he said, you know, you can just sharpen the can opener and get the same effect.
Sure, I can see that.
But I kind of like, I think that tool should be included on every Leatherman, but that's me.
It's cool. Yeah, no, that is a cool little tool.
Yeah. And then speaking of Leathermans, when I was going through ones, the Skeletool is definitely one of my favorites. And this one is the CX model. So it has the 154 cm.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The nice plain blade on it, you know.
Yeah.
And what I like about these, the Skeletool, is that it's like everything you need and nothing else.
Yeah.
You got pretty much, your whole package here. And but yeah, I have been kind of collecting kind of everything. Then when I got a case trapper for my birthday, my son
Ooh,
got me this. Yeah, so it's the nice full size trapper from
yeah.
Case, the amber jig bone.
Yeah, the amber
Yeah,
jig bone.
it's really a beautiful knife.
I
And then
have
that's
a Sodbuster Junior in that amber jig bone.
yes.
It's a really nice looking.
Oh, it is. Those are fantastic. Well, then that got me thinking, and then I found that there was a place down in Texas where I live, and they do trappers and they do engraving. So I got a channel knife, and
There
made
you
this
go.
logo. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. This is from More Maker. They're down in Matador, Texas.
More maker, huh?
Yeah. So they you talk about knives that have too much branding, right? Because I have so many people that they don't like branding on knives that I get
Yeah.
comments on that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can see it, but on the cap here,
Yeah.
it has More. On this side, it's Maker, and then
Okay.
on this side it says Matador. On this side, it says Texas. it's got my channel name on it. This is the Texas edition. So here's the Lone Star, and on the other side is the state of Texas.
There you
And,
go. No, that's
yeah,
cool.
so
I like it.
it's like let's do branding all over.
Well, yeah. Yeah, like Tobias and his R stamp on the Rough Riders, right?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's like, no, they gotta get rid of it.
Yeah. Some people don't like it. It doesn't really bother me, to tell you the truth.
No, it doesn't bother
Yeah.
me either. I mean, I get it. Yeah, when you got a blade that's just got a whole bunch of stuff all over it, I
Right.
mean, does it kind of detract? Sure, it does.
Right.
It doesn't affect the operability of a knife. It's completely an aesthetic thing, but I get it.
Right.
There's some that I've looked at and been like, that's a little much.
Right. Exactly. But I didn't know how much I liked trappers until I got a Case mini trapper.
Yeah.
And these guys are nice because with your full size trapper, you can see the
Oh, yeah.
size difference. So it gives you a really nice pocket carry.
Oh, let's see here. I actually brought my cart over this time. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that one out. But let's see where. Oh, here we go. There you go. Now this one, the good old red
Yep.
jig bone.
Love it.
And this one is actually that's a whitetail. But I was gonna ask you, and you give me your thoughts on it. Rough Rider. You talked a little bit about Rough Rider.
Yeah.
When it comes to traditional knives, actually Grateful Panic was the one, you had mentioned about the inspiration and getting back to basically the root of knives, and where
Right.
they actually came from. Grateful Panic was the one that really got me back into the traditional, because he and I started out pretty much at the same time.
Yeah.
In YouTube, and we were trading knives back and forth, and he had a lot of the really nice GECs. And
Right.
this one right here is the one that really, he sent me one.
Yeah.
It was the green micarta.
Right.
And I was like, oh my goodness. The bullnose from GEC. I'm like, that is a beautiful knife. And just and I went and looked, and they had a red linen micarta, and I'm like, done.
Yeah.
I was all over it. And you want to talk about branding,
Yes. Exactly.
but it's okay. Doesn't bother me. But yeah, but what I love about the Rough Riders is they're a pretty decent little knife for the price.
Yes.
And they
Absolutely.
are a fantastic way for people to, explore
Right.
that traditional knife market, if you will, find out what they like, what patterns they like, and then they could potentially expand into a
Exactly.
Case, a Shatton Morgan, whatever the case may be.
Right.
No,
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
apologize for the pun with the case, maybe. But...
I got it. I don't do dad jokes. I do grandpa jokes.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, right on. Right on. But they're a really good way. And now that they've started with the Riff Rider Reserve line,
Yes.
I have been fairly impressed with those knives.
Yes.
The only one that I had a little bit of, I guess, issue we could say with was that bar back. I like the design of it. I really do, because it's different.
Yes.
It's a completely different pattern. I just think it would have been better served as a single bladed knife. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, because I think the secondary blade did get in the way of that main one.
Well, and just to use the secondary blade, it's not overly comfortable with the primary blade closed, because you've got the bottle opener on it. But other than that, I mean, and that's completely designed. It's different. I like that about it. I really do. But I've been pretty impressed with them.
I have too. I've only gotten 2 of those. I got the first one, the Easy Open Razor, and then I got the Hedgehog.
The denim micarta on.
Yes, I love that. That denim micarta is just, that was beautiful. You know, and that was really the only one of that pattern of an Easy Open Razor that I had. I had not experienced that pattern before. You know, so it's kind of cool.
That sort of one-arm jack type of knife.
Exactly. And you know, that was something that, when, you know, me being a history nerd, when you look at history, and the reason that they came up with those one-armed things was after the Civil War, there were so many amputees that were there, that people still needed to use a knife, you know, and that was how they had to open them. You know,
and that is one of the other things about the traditional slip joint. Every pattern pretty much has a history. There's a reason for it. It's not like a lot of the modern knives where they're making, you know, who can make it look different. Knives were made to serve a purpose.
Exactly.
And that's, you know, and that's like when you're talking about getting into the history of knives, like Tobias and Stewart and those guys that really do. That's, I mean, I watch Tobias to learn.
I do too.
I do. I'm not gonna lie. I because I bet every time I watch one of his videos, I learn something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's a treasure.
Yeah,
he really is. You know, I mean,
and he's funny.
Yes, he is.
Him and the cat. It's hilarious.
Which that's always a plus. You know, but yeah, speaking of Stewart, I have another. This is a traditional pattern that I was not even really aware of, and that's this old timer, you know, gun stock, and this is gun stock trapper, but it has a liner lock. And I didn't know about this, and he said, "Hey, you might want to try one of these because it might be the perfect knife." But really, for me, of the hybrid knives has been this Roper Pecos, and this one has been one that I made a video on it. This is a great blade shape.
That looks like it's like your folding hunter type pattern.
Yeah,
kind of, sort of. Yeah.
Clip point. Comes with a pocket clip, and it's a liner lock.
Oh, wow.
So it's basically, you know, a one-handed locking knife, you know, that's in a traditional pattern.
Sure.
And they just have these, they call it a cream yellow Delrin pattern, but, you know, which they're not as yellow as the Case Delrin, but this knife has just been a dream. It's just been perfect in every way. It's not had any kind of issues with it. It has a nice sharpening choil at the bottom, and this is just a fantastic work knife. And if somebody that may be not wanting to go full traditional, or maybe they don't like slip locks or slip joints, you know, type knife, you know, if they want something that actually locks up in place, you know, this is a great option for them, and something that they can do. And
absolutely.
And this knife, it retails for about $20. You know, it's a fantastic bargain. You know, I mean, really, if you have $20 burning a hole in your pocket, go get one.
Now a knife
You'll
like that,
probably
what
be
is
happy.
it? Is it probably, it's probably what, 440A maybe?
Actually, this is 1065 carbon.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get 1065, carbon blade,
Yeah,
carbon
20
steel.
bucks.
Good
Yeah.
knife. Yeah.
Get
This is, yeah,
it.
exactly. I'm telling you, get it before the price goes up.
Exactly. Well, you know what? That's kind of like, I don't know if you ever, if you saw, I have one actually right here. Speaking of Stuart,
Yeah, the common
no,
thread. Oh, that's
this
awesome.
is, it's the Bushmaster Bushcraft Field Folder, right?
Yes.
You know where I found this knife? Bud
No.
K.
Oh, yeah.
And I found this and it was just a cool little knife. And I'm like, wow, it's got that sod, it's a little sodbuster pattern on it. And
Right.
I was like, Bushmaster, but they were like $9-10. And I'm like, that is just an awesome little knife. Every once in a while, okay, we had maybe a little bit of gap in the back spring or whatever. We've seen that in some Rough Riders.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, it's a $10 knife. I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'm not gonna sweat that. And actually, just so Stuart actually blued the blade for me. He put his patented, we'll call it the Stuart patented sharpening choil in there. And then
Yes.
I believe he put olive oil on the handle, to several coats of olive
Yes.
oil, if I remember correctly. But so I just started, and when I started out, I was pretty much big time budget because, well, that's what I could afford.
Exactly.
And I was like, well, man, $10 for this little guy. That's so it kind of became the quote unquote channel knife,
Right.
just because I was getting them and I really liked them. And I gave several of these knives away on the channel, on my live stream or whatever.
Yeah.
And come to find out, one of the guys sent one in to have it tested. It's 1095 steel.
Yeah. Fantastic.
How can you go wrong with that?
You can't. I love
A
1095.
1095 blade for $10?
Yeah.
Okay, so what? It's got a tiny little gap on the scale. It's a
Yeah.
1095 blade for $10.
Right. I can live with that.
Yeah, you're darn right I can live with that. Well, then Bud K they changed a bunch of their things and they actually went up to because I was buying a lot of them, so it might have been my fault. But they went up to like $15, and I'm like, it's still a great price.
Absolutely.
And then they just went away.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the joke, is like, well, you bought them all. I'm like, well, maybe I did. I bought a lot of them. I might have. I don't know. But when you can find those little, to steal a word from Nick Shabazz, the little gems like that,
Yeah.
it's so much fun.
Oh, it is. It is.
And then I kind of, I kind of like, okay, now what else can I find?
Right.
And just like that one, that's a great little knife for $20.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fantastic. In case anybody missed it, this is a Roper Pecos from American Buffalo Knife and Tool.
Oh, ABKT. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Yeah.
So, and I have some more knives from them that I'm going to be reviewing here in the next couple weeks. So, look for that.
Really interesting. It's actually it's kind of creepy a little bit, but somebody was just actually asking me about ABKT traditionals.
Uh-huh.
And I don't really have a lot of experience with them. So I will definitely, if you have some and are going to be showing some, I will definitely be watching and listening, because I've had a few of their more modern type, and they're good knives, they're not terrific and they're not terrible. They're pretty much, they're good knives. There's a lot of those out there.
Yeah.
That
what I know about them in particular is that they're similar to Rough Rider in that they're designed here, but they're manufactured in China.
Yeah.
And they're mostly, they have, besides the Pecos, which is their hybrid model, and they call it a hybrid, they deal mostly in trappers and stockmen.
Okay.
So
okay.
Those are the patterns that they've kind of settled on at this point.
Sure.
But and then they have different, cover materials and stuff, just like, all the rest of them,
Right.
but some
Right.
are really cool original designs, and some of the blades are, maybe not exactly what you'd see on a
Right.
traditional
For
Stockman.
sure.
It's kind of their take on it. So like Rough Rider does too. They change up some of the blades that they have
Oh yeah.
as well. Blade shapes and
Yeah.
stuff.
Well,
So
and
it's
that's what was
very
it? Oh,
similar, and
I'm
the
trying to
price is
think.
about similar to
Yeah.
to the Rough Rider. It's
Okay.
right in line with that. So
Okay.
you're looking at knives that are in the $20 range and stuff. What's interesting about them is they do have a higher end knives that they have, which they use D2 tool steel, and those are still retailing like under $40. So it's actually not bad if you
No.
want to upgrade your steel. And then a lot of their traditionals are the 1065 carbon.
Okay. That's cool. That's very cool. Yeah, it was just funny that you mentioned that because it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking me about them, about the traditional side, and I was like, well, that's one I really haven't had. I don't have much experience with, So, but from what I'm seeing, it's definitely
Yeah.
something worth checking out. I think
Yeah.
might
I
have to
think so.
get one on the channel and just check it out.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I mean, come on, who it's a new knife, so
Right. What's not to like?
exactly, exactly, exactly. So now I know a lot. Now you should the Gerber. Let's see, what was the one? It was the Buck with the micarta.
Yes.
Oh, what
The, the Sprint Pro.
Sprint Pro? There you go.
Yes.
There you go. I saw it. That was the video you released. What was it? Yesterday or
Yeah.
this morning?
Yesterday. It was
Okay,
just yesterday.
I
Yeah.
watched it this morning. I actually
Okay.
watched it this morning, and I do like the micarta on that.
I do too. Yeah, that
And
burlap Mark Carta, and the
yeah,
way that they sculpted that handle,
yeah,
it's beautiful, feels great in hand. It's a good knife. I would still say that, even though I had one that had a weak detent,
sure,
and the pocket clip is not exactly my favorite pocket clip of all time,
right,
I would say that it's still a solid buy. I mean, it's a great blade shape. I love how they did the file work on the spine of the blade.
yeah.
Is fantastic, and it's S30V steel for that. So it's a good knife. It's definitely worth having it. And plus, my data set is only one.
Oh
So,
yeah, and
so
that's
the example.
okay.
Yeah, that's just that knife that I have that I'm
Tell
reviewing.
tell me
Right, but
what
it's not
knife
all of them.
reviewer their data set isn't one.
Yeah,
When I do a knife review, it's of the knife that I'm showing you.
right.
And that's kind of where I go back to the whole, when people leave comments, well, mine had this. It's good to get that information,
Right.
and that's what I always tell people: leave me comments if you have a different experience. Let me know, because
Right.
that makes that just gives me more information that I can make sure people have. And
Exactly.
that's what the comments are there for, is to share information. And if you really had one that was just a real bomb, let me know.
Yeah. Yeah, and even then, with like I said, with the stuff that one had, my son-in-law is who actually owns that knife,
Okay.
and so he wanted me to try it out and see what I thought of it.
Sure.
It's still, like I said, it's still a good knife. I still wouldn't hesitate to use it. It had a couple quirks for that particular knife,
Right.
and I'm sure that they're not all that way. I wouldn't say that you'd go wrong by picking one up if you really like it.
Right.
And that burlap handle is really super cool because you just don't see that as a material. I've seen the denim micarta, I've seen the other
Yep.
stuff. I didn't seen a burlap. And they must be popular because they're out of stock on them right now.
I
When I
think
was
Buck's
looking at
done
stuff
that
up.
burlap on a couple of their 2 or 3 of their models, haven't they? They've used that burlap micarta a couple of times.
Yeah, I think they have. I
And
don't remember the
I
exact
really
models,
like it.
but
No, I
yeah,
don't either, unfortunately.
yeah,
But it's something that they've used before, and I do like it. I do
yes,
like the feel, the texture. Gives
yes.
you a great grip.
Oh yeah,
Fantastic grip.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So
Good stuff. I have a buck knife, an older buck that I've had since I was in the service. Actually, this is a buck light. So
Okay.
it's the 110 model buck light, and I carried this when I was in the service, and it has the finger grooves and stuff. But this is the old style, which I much prefer this one to the new buck light that they came out with.
Yeah.
I think these are way better than those because of the handle mostly. I like
Sure.
the way that this one is. But yeah, just speaking of buck,
Oh,
tried and true.
I carried a 110 and a 112 for
Oh,
probably the first, probably close to 10 years I was in the military.
absolutely. Yeah, everybody had them. It
I
just
mean,
was
when you say
something you had.
buck knife, you know, people don't think of the Sprint Pro.
Right.
They don't think of, they think of the 110 because
Yeah,
it's an iconic knife.
absolutely.
And it gets a little bit of from other people, from people, but you can't argue that it is an iconic knife because how many other people have
Yes.
made knives
That
that
look
look
just
an awfully lot like the buck 110 and 112.
I think it's probably just all of them. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the way that went. But yeah, and the reason that they did is because they work. That knife works.
It
That pattern
does.
works.
It
There's
does.
yeah, it does exactly what you want it to do every time without fail. You can just they're just super reliable. It's like an old friend.
Yeah.
You have it. It will always serve you. It's just
Yeah.
never gonna be a problem. You know.
It's kind of funny. I am definitely not the world's greatest knife sharpener at all. But here a while back, my wife got me a KME for my birthday. And I was like, okay, because I really wanted to learn. I'm terrible with a stone. Ugh. Anyway, um, but I'd kind of always wanted one, and she got me one. And I think it was the 110. Yeah, it was the 110. And it comes with I believe the coarsest stone it actually comes with is a 140 grit, and I was just having a hard time getting a burr on it with that 140. And I was like, well, maybe I got to go heavier. So I ended up getting a 50 grit stone, and I got a burr.
Yeah.
I got a burr, but then I don't know what it was, but then that was really the first knife I'd sharpened, really, really sharpened on the KME.
Uh-huh.
And then once I got down and I stropped and stuff, that knife scared me. That knife was sharp.
Oh yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, I was so happy. I was so happy because I got that knife that sharp after what I'd went through just trying
Right.
to get a darn burr on the thing. And I don't know, I don't know what it was about it, but I mean, a 140 stone, I should have been able to get a burr because, I mean, it's not like the blade was all chipped up or anything like that.
Right.
It was just kind of persnickety about giving me a burr, and that 50 stone got one.
Yeah.
It definitely got one, but after
It's
that,
funny. Yeah, it's funny you talk about sharpeners because that's everybody that's into knives has got a gazillion sharpeners. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
I still have,
yeah,
believe it or not, I still have the Smith's Arkansas stone that I bought like back when I bought this Kershaw. I still have
sure,
that out in my
sure.
garage. I have water stones. I have the little fold out DMT sharpeners. Uh, I have one of the work sharp sharpeners, the one that has the little pivot table on it.
Oh,
Like when you
mhm.
sharpen it, it will go follow the pivot. I mean, that's like everybody's got a gazillion of those, and then we got two or three pull through
Oh
ones
yeah.
that everybody says don't use those, but everybody does. And But then, I was going to ask you, how do you like that Work Sharp one with the power driven one with the
The
belts and
belt.
stuff? That
See,
that one
now
probably
that was the
works out
one,
pretty easy,
the
right?
knife and tool sharpener, that
Yeah,
the belt, that was the one that I used for, you know, a long, long time because it worked for me.
right,
I could get a really good edge on a knife with it. Now, with the original, you know, if you wanted to keep your blades pretty, you had to like tape up, the blade and stuff like that because you would get some scratching just because of the residue, from the dust and everything that you would take off. Um, but I could use it, and that's what worked for me.
right.
I mean, I could get a shaving sharp edge on it. Now, I don't. I'm not a guy that prescribes to the whole mirror edge. That's just not me.
Right,
It. My dad always said if it shaves, it's sharp,
right. Yeah,
and that's just, if I can get a knife that will shave hair, then yeah, for me. It doesn't need to be really any sharpener than that. Do
yeah,
the mirror edges look good? Of course they do. They look
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
But that's just, I'm not. I guess it all comes down to tying too.
Yes,
Because it does. It takes time to get that, and you really have to work at it. Now, probably once you get good at it, it's not quite as much work.
right.
But they brought out that 2.0 for the Work Sharp knife and tool sharpener, and
Yeah,
it's basically same concept, but it has some little improvements that I do really like. The one that I'm I'm hoping we see a little bit more from is the precision adjust, where
right.
it's kind of like the KME.
Hmm.
But right now it's got what is it? I think it comes with a 300, a 600, and a ceramic hone, on a little, basically a little rotating barrel that you use.
Yeah,
It's same basic design ish as the KME.
right.
Function, I guess I should say, function as the KME. And I do like that one as well. As a matter of fact, we just had some friends over um, the Sunday before Memorial Day, and a
Right.
friend of mine had a Benchmade 940, and he's like, "Hey, I know you've got sharpeners around here. Which
Yeah.
one? I need to touch up my knife. Do you mind if I'm like, we were in the garage. I was like, there's the table with the sharpeners. Pick one.
Yeah.
Have at it." And I was like, actually, I was like, give this one a shot. And it was the precision adjust, and I basically showed him, and he's like, okay. And he just did a few. I mean, it probably wasn't, I didn't see how sharp it was to start. So,
Right.
I don't know where it began at, but he did a few passes with each one. I showed him, the how to do it and make sure you don't go too far off the end, so you round over your
Right.
tip, all that good stuff. And he was over there messing around while I was cooking burgers and stuff. Next thing you know, he's like, all right. He's like, I think I got it, but I don't have anything. He's like, I want to test it. So I found him an old magazine. He just, and I was like,
Yeah.
good job. You
There you
did
go.
it. So, and he's like, wow, that was really easy. And it is. And there are, that style is really, they are easy to use. I mean,
Right.
it takes practice, just like anything
Yeah.
else. But I mean, he just never used it before, and he got a pretty darn good serviceable edge on his knife.
Yeah.
Um, I just wish, I'd like to see maybe something a little coarser so you can work out those chips, because you get some chips or a ding that 300 is going to take some time.
Yes.
And I mean, you don't necessarily have to get down to a 50 grit, but
Right.
maybe a 120, 140, just something a little bit. And then I'd love to see a strop option for it,
Yeah.
just so you can kind of more personalize it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to
Exactly.
help personalize it out a little bit. I mean, the ceramic hone does fine,
Yeah.
but it gives those people the opportunity. Because I mean, look at the KME. I mean, my
Right.
goodness, the amount of stones and lapping
Oh,
films and
yeah. You get everything.
I mean, that is, I would say the KME is probably, for lack of a better term, the king of the adjustable angle
Yeah.
sharpening systems.
I
It
totally
is.
agree. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fantastic tool. works perfectly. The only bad part about it is a lot of people can't afford it.
Exactly.
And no, and I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that in a bad way. It's just the
No.
truth.
Yeah.
We talk about that in knives. Not everybody has Spyderco money. Some people
That's right.
have Rough Rider money.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's why this is. But it's that precision adjust is a great option because I think it costs like $60.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah,
So
not expensive.
yeah, yeah. So I think somebody said, well, is that a KME killer? And I was like, I think it's got a ways to go before we could give it that name.
Right.
But with some additional stones and stuff,
Yeah.
it could give it a little bit of a run,
Oh, absolutely.
So just because it's a little bit more affordable,
Yeah.
So, and it's really cool to see. I mean, it's just like knives. It's so fun to see the progression,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
and there was one I was going to bring up before I forget. And I don't know if you've seen, and I just seen some coverage on the Blade Show stuff, but have you seen anything from Jack Wolf Knives?
Absolutely. I've been following them on Instagram and they are tearing it up.
Those
I
knives
love,
are beautiful.
yes, absolutely. In fact, I made a comment to them, because they had their Blade Show announcement, we're here and here's our booth number and stuff, come by and see us. And I was like, I won't be there, but I totally dig your designs and stuff. And, that got me a like from them. And I was like, hey, that's good, and I know watching Patty from Patty's Potato Peelers.
Yep, he just did.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's I guess knows those guys or is friends with those guys, and I guess they worked at other knife companies or whatever, and now they kind of have come together to do Jack Wolf, and and their designs are just off the hook. I mean, and the micarta that they're using is beautiful. That green
and I
micarta
think
that they have.
M390 is what
Yeah,
I think most of the blade steel is going to be on them.
Yes.
Now you're going to pay for what you get.
Yeah, I went to their website and they're not in my budget.
Well, I think he said on what I saw, they're basically going to start, I believe what he said was like $275.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in that Pena range.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they're beautiful knives. I mean,
absolutely.
The models, the protos that they have, because they're not available yet. He just had the protos there.
Right.
I mean, and the other thing about it is it's pretty cool is in listening to him talk, like basically everything with the knife is a collectible.
Yes.
The tube, the sticker, this, that, it's all collectible. And I kind of like that. That's a pretty cool little extra, I guess, when it comes. Yeah. But they're definitely, you're going to pay for what you get. I mean, that's the best way to say it. And trust me, I don't mean that in a bad way at all, because
it's premium stuff that they're building it with. Yeah. And they're giving you that extra customer experience, with the tubes and the stickers and the paraphernalia that's going to go with it. So in that case, there's nothing wrong with the price that they're asking for.
No.
I'm what I term a bad collector, because I like to use my stuff. I'm not so much, to like, I have some knives that absolutely I'm not going to carry them at work. I'm not going to, do a lot of cutting with them, or
right.
maybe never cut with them. But those are some knives that I've always wanted to have, and I just want to keep them as perfect as I can. And what's collectible to me is not going to be collectible to you or to somebody else.
Of course.
But it's just the stuff that that I like, that I want to keep pristine. But for the most part, I'd say that 99% of the knives I own, they all are users, and they're going to have scratches and pocket dings and stuff like that. I'm not going to baby them, and I mean, I'll clean them up and stuff like that. I'm not going to let them get rusty, but
sure, of course. You're going to care for your tools.
Exactly, but right. I'm not going to. At the same time, I'm going to use my tools and not just have safe queens. So that's the thing is that, you know, when I look at a knife like that, you know, it just looks like it just wants to be used. You look at
Oh
those
yeah.
the Jack Wolf
Yeah.
knives and the pictures I've seen. I mean, it's like, I want to hold that in my hand. I want to cut something with it. I
Mhm.
want to, you know, I don't want to just look at it, you know, on
Oh,
the shelf
absolutely.
or something like that.
Absolutely.
So that's what makes me a bad collector, is because I would take all that collector value right off it.
I mean, I do have a couple that I'll be like,
Right,
no,
right.
I think those are gonna be, and they were, very, very nice gifts from people. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I'm gonna treat them as such because I don't want, you know, I just don't want anything to happen to them.
Yeah,
And I
like
want to,
this one for my
yeah,
son. You
I
know,
mean,
it's still in the package because,
yeah,
you know, and it means something to me. It may not
exactly,
be,
exactly.
you know, anything that anybody's going to pay thousands of dollars for, but I don't care because it's
No,
priceless to me.
exactly. That's the thing. That's the thing is it's priceless to you.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if it's a $3 knife or a $3,000 knife.
Exactly.
You're not going to put a value on it because it means way more than anything. And I totally, totally. It's funny. I was gonna. You had mentioned the yellow Delron, right?
Yes.
Yellow Delrin, the from Case, and that was
Yeah.
one thing that John Grateful Panic, when I kind of started getting back into him and stuff, he
Uh-huh.
sent me a yellow Delrin trapper, and he's
Right.
like, no respecting traditional knife collector can have a collection without a yellow Delrin case in it. And I'm
That's
like,
true.
Okay. Because, I was just starting out. I'm like, now
Right.
I think I have like three of them.
Yeah. And I like the Delrin, you know, this orange Delrin.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
orange Delrin. You know,
Yeah.
that makes me happy. Here's the yellow
Yep.
copperhead, you
Yep.
know, because those are just, you know, what you get. But as far as case trappers, I just have the amber jig bone, so I guess I'm not
The
self-respecting.
well, that's just what he told me, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I guess. And
So,
then I do have the slim line. I have the regular trapper, and then I
oh
have the
yeah,
slim line
slimline
trapper.
trappers are
Yeah,
beautiful. I love
yeah.
those knives. Those are so handy, and just I think I should have grabbed one from uh, you know, my collection, but yeah, it's just something that is so handy with it being one blade.
Mhm.
It's so slim.
Yeah.
It's so, you know, you don't even notice that, you know, how long it is at all. It just rides in your pocket and
Oh yeah.
disappears.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I love is that if a knife can do that, you know, if you can have it and you don't even know you have it until you need it, that's a perfect knife
Oh
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
Okay, so traditional knives. Question: slip or no slip?
Uh, I tried to slip for a while, and I think I'm a no slip kind of guy. I always
Yeah.
was no slip.
Yeah.
When Smoky Mountain came out with those ones for Rough Rider, I bought
Hmm.
one of each size because,
Sure.
you know, they were very affordable,
Sure.
and you know, I put the knives in there and stuff, and that makes it, I think, ride in the pocket a little heavier because now you have basically a sheath in your pocket.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing. I don't have a fixed blade here, but you know, basically like with this buck, if this was a buck 102 and was fixed blade, for sure I need a sheath, you know.
Right.
But with it being, you know, basically a folding knife, that is its sheath. The covers are the sheath. You know, I don't have to
True.
worry about. I'm not going to
Very
get
true.
poked. I'm not going to get cut. I'm not going to get stabbed.
Right.
Nothing when it's like
Right.
this. So I think for if I was carrying a GEC and it's something I didn't want to get scratched up, but I still wanted to have like some pocket candy
Hmm.
that I could pull out and say, "Hey, look at this," then I would definitely want to have that in
See,
a
that's where I'm at.
right in some
That's where
kind of
I'm
a cover.
at. Do I always carry my? No, I don't always carry much, but I do have some that I want. Not that I don't use or whatever, but I want to keep them looking a little better.
Yeah,
Then I will carry it in a sheath, something just a little, little leather
right.
sheath. Um, Nothing too dramatic, but it just protects it a little bit,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. It's one of those things that, like I said, like we agree on. You know, if it's something with the cover material, or you know, the bolsters or whatever, you don't want them to get nicked or scratched or, have
Right.
keys banging against them. Yeah. Then go
Yeah.
ahead and do that.
Just help.
Yeah. So
One.
just
Oh,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. One quick question for you is: have you dove into Finch much?
I love Finch knives, but they're kind of at the top end of my budget for
Sure.
buying knives and stuff.
Sure.
But they're definitely on my radar, and someday I do hope to acquire 3 or 4 of their different models because they they make great knives too. They really do. I
And
love the look of the
we're kind of talking about that whole traditional thing,
yes,
but it's that whole, traditional and modern, kind of like
yeah,
what Jack Wolf is doing now.
right, and also
It,
like what the Italian makers are doing too. With
sure,
your Mazarins, your Lion
sure,
Singles,
sure.
your others, and I think that so there's some pushback in the traditional community with those saying, well, they're not made of the right materials, or there may be a different kind of a design, but it's still a slip joint. But they're working under the constraints of the EU laws that are completely different than the knife laws we have here. So
Right,
for them,
right.
they don't want a trapper knife. They want something that's going to look like their modern lifestyle, but it's a slip joint
Sure,
because that's what they're allowed to have.
exactly.
So I welcome those kind of designs. I welcome
Oh,
those kind of
sure.
changes, and I think also because of the history thing, I just dig knife culture all over
Yeah.
the world. So I mean, if somebody has something that's good and it's cool, I'm definitely there. It doesn't have to be. I'm not so hidebound traditional that I'm like, no,
Hmm.
it has to be only this.
It might be. Oh, where's it at? Nope, it's not in there. Is it? I was gonna the Otnat. Ah, there we go. The Otnat from Lion Steel. I love it because you've got that kind of, more traditional look, but you
Right.
pop that blade out and you've got that sort of 940-ish
Yes.
reverse tanto thing on it. I absolutely love this knife. I mean, it's kind
Yeah.
of that there again, it's kind of that blend of the modern and traditional. And like what you were saying
Exactly.
about your European makers, well, there's a pretty darn good example of what I like when it comes from them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly right up my alley as a traditional guy. I like that. But like we talked about, I mean, I like flippers, I like assisted knives, I like, the modern stuff too. I think the most modern knife I have here is that kicker from CJRB.
Sure,
And I
sure.
love the blade shape on this. I love the carbon fiber handle. This I like the lock too. But yeah, this is a fun little knife to have, and it's you know just a really good budget flipper. Uh,
It's got a really
so
nice belly on that blade.
it does.
Yes.
I just this thing's a beast,
And it's
and
it's
it's a D2
it's
also.
funny you
It's
say CGRB. I've got this one laying right here. This is the Barranca.
yeah,
If I said that right. But they're again
yeah,
CGRB.
right. A
Great.
great, absolutely. I agree with that.
It's
CJRB.
just like we both started to say the
Yeah,
exact same thing, I think, and then we just ended up looking at one another and
yeah.
nodding because you just know. You
We're
just
we're
know.
we got that
Yeah.
wavelength.
Yeah, you just know. I mean, they do. They make some really good, budget friendly, and pretty
Yes.
darn good knives. And I mean, let's be honest. And I mean, okay, in my opinion, from that $50 to $100 range in the modern knife world, I mean, Civivi's pretty much got that locked down for me.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just one after another, and now they're moving into N690 and S35 VN, but they're still giving you those knives in that price range. I
Exactly.
mean, it's really hard to compete with.
Absolutely.
It really is
Yeah.
because I mean, just the by sheer numbers of
Right.
models that they put out there, and it, I, it's yeah, they're. But then you've got like CGRB, Artisan. They make some really, really good budget friendly knives as well. And there's, you know, there's a lot of companies out there that do. There
Yes,
really are. And I think we say this all the time, but it's a great time to be a knife collector, a knife guy, you
absolutely.
know, a quote
Absolutely.
unquote knife guy, because there are
Yeah,
so many different options out there.
right.
You know, traditionals. You can go with the lower, you know, you got the Rough Rider that makes a pretty darn decent knife for a very, very
Yes,
budget price.
yes.
Then you have the Peñas, the new
Hmm.
Jack Wolves. If you want to go
Yeah,
high
high end,
end, and there's then you've got
everything in between.
Case and GEC and Shatton Morgan and everything else
Right.
in that middle range.
Yeah,
That it's
and
just
not to mention the secondary market for, you
exactly,
know,
exactly.
Schrade, Old Timer, Queen, all these companies that, you know, were
Yeah.
great American
Yep.
knife companies that unfortunately aren't here anymore.
Correct.
But you know, I mean, this, speaking of Schrade, I mean, I still have this little work knife. I think I got this like for, I don't know, like maybe $9, but this is probably one of the last USA made little lockbacks.
Yeah.
This thing is, you know,
Yeah.
a fantastic knife, and it served me well. It did many, 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 many jobs with me. You know, so it's kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, the secondary market is there for all that.
Oh,
So
of
you have
course.
those, you have you know, all the new stuff that's coming out. I know that you know, the new old timers that a lot of people are saying they're not as good as the other ones. I actually am glad that, you know, they're making these in China and putting these out, because it gives people, like you were saying with the Rough Rider, that you can try out a model, see if you like it, then go find the original. You know, and if you don't like the original or whatever, I mean, you're not out a lot of money, and still these are not bad knives. And you know,
It's so funny that you
people,
brought that knife out because I was just going to ask you, what is it about old timer knives?
well, I can tell you, for me, it's history. I remember when one of the knives I had was an old timer Stockman, and it was one of the smaller Stockmans. You know,
Hmm.
wasn't the full size pattern.
Sure.
But I had that knife. I can remember, you know, carrying it when I was in high school. Uh, you know, which I guess that means I am old, because I went to high school and had a knife in my pocket and nobody cared. But you know, but then again, I wasn't doing stupid things with my knife either. You
Exactly.
know, but
Exactly.
yeah, it's just. But I had that knife. I have no idea where it went. You know, it's one of those things that, you
Right.
know how it is when you go into service
Of
and
course.
come back, and
Of course.
whatever you had that was there is, you know, been parted
Might
out
not
or
be there
gone, or
now.
exactly, it's not going to be there.
And
So
I
but
don't think I have it, but I have an old timer Barlow. Just that,
oh, nice.
you know, the
Yeah,
brown and tan old timer
right.
Barlow. I don't know what it is about that knife, but when I have that knife and I have that knife on me, it's just like a feeling of, I don't know. It's just so,
It's the nostalgia.
it's just,
It's it's just
it
it's
makes me feel at
Americana.
ease. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just, I
it,
don't know what it is. But
right.
that knife, and it's that knife,
Yeah,
I don't know what it, that's the only knife I have that feeling with. But it's just, well, okay, it used to be my uncle's.
yeah,
Okay, so there's definitely some personal connection
right.
to it. And
Yeah,
maybe I guess it probably has to do with maybe, you know, the subconscious and spending that time with my uncle and fishing and all that other, you know, I'm sure that
right.
probably has something to do with it. But
Yeah,
when I have that knife on me, it's just like, you know, everything's gonna be okay. I don't know
exactly.
what it is. It's crazy. It's just,
we'll
but it's
just
that knife, that
we'll just
knife.
call it that old timer magic.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It must
and,
be. It
and they
must
are.
be.
I mean, uh, knife detector's been doing a whole lot of old
Yeah.
timers lately.
Yeah.
I've done them. Jersey Knife Guy's done them. We all three agree and talk offline that we just love Schrade knives, and they are good designs. That's why I'm glad that even though they're being made in China now, that at least somebody is building those designs and releasing them to the market, so that, you know, people can try them and see them and love them. And I'm hoping it'll make them go buy, an original one if that's what they really want to have.
Sure.
But yeah, you can't. In fact, my only Barlow that I have, or Barlow pattern, is this knife here, which it's plastic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this was made by Schrade in their Ireland factory when they were over there.
Oh,
And
sure.
this was a knife that you got when you joined the NRA. But it's
Oh,
still
okay.
a
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
blade shape to it. I mean,
Yeah.
just it's a really nice little knife. It has a little pin blade with it. And again, this is one that has been with me for many, many years. And again, the Barlow is such a great shape, with the being large on one side and kind of narrow on the other. It just kind of falls in your pocket, goes whichever way it's going to go, but it settles in there and you don't know it's there. And speaking of Barlows, that brings us back to Finch with the 1929, which is
Oh.
still my favorite
Oh.
of the Finch
Yes.
designs.
Yes.
Although the Holiday runs a close second, but I love that 1929 Finch. Oh, there it is. Not far from your hand.
No. Well, like I said, I'm getting ready to do. It's an early SKL today, so I've
Right.
kind of got everything all laid out here that I'm going to talk about. And yeah,
Yeah.
this just kind of showed up in the mail yesterday, and I'm like, I trust me, I love this red linen micarta,
I
but
do too. I thought that was really pretty.
I don't think anything can top that white smooth bone Holiday.
Yeah.
To me, that is just, I mean, because this is a little bit more the modern, obviously, with the micarta
Right.
and stuff, but that white smooth bone, that looked like a knife straight out of Doc Holliday's pocket.
Yes, it
I
did.
mean, that was just, to me, that is,
He
with the
was a white smooth
inspiration.
bone kind of guy.
I don't, that was the thing. I don't really care for white knives.
Yeah.
And I saw that knife and I was just like, oh man. I mean, it got me. I mean, immediately I was like, I have
Yes.
got to have one of those. Because
Yeah.
I mean, Finch and the inspiration they use behind their knives and stuff. And I was
Yes.
like, when I saw that knife, I could just imagine Doc Holliday pulling it out of his breast pocket of his vest or what, I'm like,
Right.
yeah.
And I think that's the thing, not just with traditionals, but with modern knives too, is that if you have a knife and you see it and it speaks to you, if it
Yes.
touches your soul,
Yes.
if you look at it and you say,
Yes.
wow, I have an immediate connection to this.
Yeah.
Which I think that's something that all of us, knife guys, have. Is that
definitely at
you
some
see
point.
that and you're just like, yes, that's something I want to own because it talks to me. It says something to me. It's more than just that knife. It's more than just a tool. It's more
Sure.
than even more than a gift or whatever. I mean, it's something that really it's almost like it talks to you in a primal way.
Yeah.
That you're just like, yeah, this has got to be it. Whatever it is, whatever kind of covers it is or materials or whatever you see it. For me, that's why I talk about blade shape a lot, is that a lot of times I don't really, worry about what steel it's made out of. Because a lot of people are, well, I would never own that, because it's too soft of a steel or whatever. And I'm like, well, so at what point in cutting that thing in half did it fail? Yeah, because they're all pretty good. And the ones that are carbon just need a little care. That's it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, steel is steel. Blade shape to me, it says a lot more, because then that's how I'm using the knife. That's how
Sure.
I'm going to take care of that task, whatever it is that I'm doing. And let's face it, in modern society, most of my tasks are not like it was in the 1850s. I cut a whole lot more tape and cardboard boxes and open mail and whatever else that we're doing. So I mean, that's what it always kind of makes me laugh. When they talk about these super steels and stuff. To me, it seems like it's more worried about edge retention, so that you never have to sharpen it. But if you're super worried about edge retention, let me reach down here to my bag here, and where is it? Oh, it's down here in the pouch part. Sorry, you have to stare at my head, but get one of these little guys. You'll never have to sharpen it ever.
Yeah.
Turn
Yeah.
it over when it's wore out, get a new one. Yeah. So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, but
that's
it's got to be about
it.
the new. It's got to be about the new and greatest thing, you know.
Exactly.
No, I have definitely not got into the whole blade steel. Rough Riders are
Yeah.
440A. You know, yep, okay, I can strop it. It'll cut again
Yeah.
in
And
no time, and
I've
you
never
know,
had a Rough Rider come dull out of the box. I
no,
don't think I've ever had one. They all are super sharp,
yeah,
you
I've
know,
had
so
pretty
they,
darn good luck with them.
yeah, I have too, you know, and I can live with, you know, when I'm buying, like you said, if I'm buying a knife and it's, $12 to $15, if it has a slight gap or something like that, oh, okay. You know,
Yeah, it
if it
doesn't,
doesn't, if it doesn't structurally affect the knife, then I'm okay with it, you know.
and that's the thing is a lot of them don't.
Mhm.
You're getting some pretty darn good knives for your 12, $15.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's yeah, okay. I can live with a tiny little gap here every once in a while. Yeah, that doesn't bother me. It's going to do its job. It's going to do it what I want it to do. And like you
Right.
said, 75 or 80% of the cutting tasks that people do on a daily basis, that little Rough Rider is going to be more than
Oh,
adequate.
yeah. It's gonna rock
Yeah.
whatever job you do. It's just, those are great knives.
No,
Yeah.
like in my job, I do cut a lot of rope. Okay. You know what?
Yeah.
I have a little pocket strop. I just,
Right.
if I need to, and it's
Yeah.
right back to
Exactly.
action. So, it of course, something like that, a D2, a VG10, whatever, something that's got a little bit more edge retention. Sure.
Yeah.
Is it better for that? Because I don't have to do that. Is it? Sure.
Right.
Would an M4 blade that I wouldn't have to sharpen for 3 weeks work? Of course it would.
Yeah.
It would work. I mean, it all comes back down to what we talked about before, blade shape or pattern or whatever. It's whatever you want, whatever you
Right.
like. I'm not gonna begrudge anybody if they say I don't use anything but M4. Right on. Good for
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Go for
That's
it.
it.
Or you get the other guy. Rough Rider, it'll do anything I want it to, and that's all. And very
Yeah.
good. It's all about you and what you want and what you prefer. And there again, it goes back to there are so many options out there.
Yes.
Yeah, there's plenty to go around. So we don't
It,
have to worry
Going
about it.
back to Blade Show, did you see the new flippers from Case?
I
Did you?
did.
What did you
I
think of that?
did.
Because that got me excited, actually.
Well, of course they had a red and black model version.
Yes.
That definitely caught my eye. I mean, come on, let's be real.
Yeah.
No, I did like the way it looked. I really
Yeah.
did.
I did
And
too.
what was it? It was Case and oh, now the old brain's gonna kick in. I'm not gonna be able to think. They did it a couple years ago. It was Case and Southern Grind.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That kind of combo they did together was a very good looking knife.
Right.
I kind of not that I'm saying it looked similar, but I got that kind of feel because it's not what we think of when we
Yeah.
think of Case knives. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but
What I
no, I
liked
did. I
about
like the look of it.
Yeah, what I liked about it was that also they were putting those out in, I think, a S35 VN, and
I don't remember what he said for blade steel, and that very well
yeah.
could be. I don't remember. I can't remember what he said for sure.
And what I was thinking is that, hopefully, even if they just do sprint runs and stuff, it'd be nice to see some of the traditional blades in that steel, or in
Sure,
an upgraded steel.
sure.
If they just ran that as a special or whatever, I think that they could sell a lot more knives that way for sure. But I thought it was kind of cool that they're going into the EDC market,
Oh yeah.
because there's so many people that want to buy American knives that are
Oh,
made
for
here,
sure.
and so I think
Absolutely.
they definitely have a market here. I've only heard one person's already complained about branding on it. Well, I wish they didn't put their name on it, so big. And I was like, I don't know. To me, it didn't detract from it.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Well, and we've talked about that with American made, and there are so many good American designers, but
Yes.
no, really American companies don't OEM.
Right.
You know, so
Exactly.
like CRKT, they have plenty of knives with big names on them, but they're CRKT knives
Yeah.
designed by so and so. And you know, there's a lot like, well, Finch. You know, Finch is a
Yeah.
company that came out. They're all designed here in the U.S. They're made in China.
Right.
QSP is making them now and doing an absolutely fantastic job on them.
Hmm.
You know, that, you know, like a designer like Dylan Mallory. I talk about Dylan all the time, you know,
Right.
and, you know, he's got some knives through. I mean, you have to go through a company like CGRB, he's done, you know, and
Exactly.
they have to do that to get their name out there. But
Right.
he's got an OEM coming out.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be, I mean, yes, I wish they could. I wish they could be made, but there's just no companies that really do,
Yeah. Exactly.
you know, mass OEM like that, you know, and, you know, will it change? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it change. I'd love to be, but if it does, you know, the unfortunate part about it is, you know, that knife's not going to be $40 anymore.
That's exactly right.
It's going to be 80 or
Yeah.
100. Or,
Right.
I mean, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, you know, and I think a lot of people would be willing to pay that to get, you know, you know, this knife, you know, from Dylan, or this one's not Dylan Mallory, but a knife like this from CJRB,
Hmm.
you know, if it was made in the US, people would pay, you know, 1.5 to 2 times maybe, just because it was made in the US.
Right. Oh,
And that's
yeah.
fine,
Exactly.
you know, but it's one of those things that, you know, again, will it happen? I don't know. I would,
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see more, you know, US companies doing OEM, or basically, you know, maybe just somebody out of the blue, a brand new company that
Yeah.
just OEMs knives.
Yeah.
How
No,
awesome would that be? That would be cool.
it would. It would be very cool.
That would be awesome. But, you know,
Yeah.
it's a big startup. It's a big
Yeah.
startup to
For
be able
sure.
to produce, you know, knives like that on a mass quantity. Here,
Yeah.
I just got a question for you now.
Sure.
And you, do you realize we've been going for way over an hour and a half?
No.
Yeah, we have. That's the thing about these, is you just get to talking. And
Yeah.
that's why it's so awesome to do these. Because it was funny. The very first one I did with Casey, and I was like, all right, we'll try to keep it to right about an hour. And I think I said that to you earlier, is I
Yeah.
keep them
You
in
did.
that range. Okay. And I did the first time. The first time. After that, they just kind of go where they go. But that's the fun about it. That's what makes
Yeah.
these so awesome, is you just get to talking and discussing, and it's so much fun. I will say I'm gonna have to take a break, grab a bite to eat, because I do have an early SKL coming
Yeah.
up
For sure.
this afternoon. But man, RJ, I'm so happy you took this time out to do this. This was so much fun,
It has been.
and I hope we kind of, did we talk about it beforehand, or did we talk about it on here? But that whole BPEX chat, I would love to do one of those with a bunch of you guys. Get
Yeah.
a group of you guys together. That would be so much fun. So
Yeah. It would.
we'll be, Jason and I were kind of talking about it, so we'll keep working on it, and maybe here on a, like I said, maybe a Saturday morning like this, we can get a bunch of
Sure.
people together and do this. And but man, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah. You
If
are welcome.
you have not checked out RJ's knives, do it. Please, there'll be links down in the description. I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel, to his Instagram page, and yeah, dude, it's been absolutely fantastic. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure talking to you, and I would love to talk to you again at some point. This has just been too
Absolutely.
much fun.
Yeah. Well, you got my number.
Here real soon. Thanks again,
Yeah.
RJ.
I'll see you over at SKL.
All
You're welcome.
righty. All righty. Bye-bye.
All right.